Hey everyone, it's Rihanna and welcome back to another video. So today is going to be an update video on my The 100 Day Film Challenge. Today we're going to be doing day 21 to day 40. Now this 20 days was a struggle. Some days I had to watch 2 films and it was all messed up, but I did it. It's still happening. So day 21 was Illumination's new animation, Secret Life of Pets, which is essentially Toy Story with pets, but I still had an amazing time with it. Day 22 was a Netflix original film, which is The Fundamentals of Caring, which I'm going to be talking about in my recommendation list at the end of this video. Day 23 was Sophia Coppola's Somewhere, which I highly recommend if you haven't seen it already. It's a very slow burn of a film, but I found a very interesting character study in Somewhere. Day 24 was the cult classic comedy Airplane, which was bizarre, but I loved it. Day 25 is a comedy that I had been looking forward to watching forever, and that is Office Space, and Office Space kind of disappointed me a little bit, which is a shame, but moving on. Day 26 was the Noah Baumbach, I can't say his last name, film Mistress America, which I'll be talking about in my recommendations. Day 27 was Darren Aronofsky's Pi. Day 28 was The Wedding Singer, starring Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore. Day 29 was a more recent Drew Barrymore film directed by Catherine Hardwicke called Miss You Already. Day 30 was a dark, dark day when I decided to watch Drop Dead Fred. I can't believe I put myself through that. Why? Day 31 was a horror movie a lot of you had recommended to me, which is Insidious, which I'll be talking about later. Day 32 was the very just okay The Legend of Tarzan, starring Alexander Skarsgård and Margot Robbie. I'll probably talk about this in more movie reviews. Day 33 was the heartbreaking and very truthful documentary called Blackfish, which will forever stick in my mind. On day 34, I thought I would finally watch a classic that I hadn't watched, which you can find in my video, which is Silence of the Lambs, which was incredible. On day 35, I thought I'd check out a Wes Anderson film which I hadn't seen before, which is Rushmore. I have to say, out of all his films that I've seen, Rushmore is actually my least favourite. On day 36, I checked out the incredibly weird Only God Forgives, directed by Nicholas Winding Refn, in preparation for day 37, seeing his film The Neon Demon, which you can check out my review for here. On day 38, I checked out Boogie Nights, directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, which is our Cinebrew pick of the month, which I will talk about in my recommendations. On day 39, I watched the 2016 remake of Ghostbusters, and I liked it, and not many people liked that I liked it, but it wasn't trash. And on day 40, I checked out the period drama called Belle, which I'm not talking about in my recommendations, but you should check it out if you like historical dramas. And those were the films I watched in the last 20 days. You can always keep track on what I'm watching on my Letterboxd, which is www.letterboxd.com/RihannaToria. So onto the 4 recommendations of the films I watched in the past 20 days. The first one is for The Fundamentals of Caring, which I believe premiered at Sundance. Is a Netflix original film starring Paul Rudd, Craig Robertson and Selena Gomez. The film centres around Paul Rudd's character Ben, who is divorcing his wife and he just needs a new career path in life, so he takes up the job of a carer of this teenager called Trevor, who has lack of movement in his legs and his arms. And because Trevor is disabled, he's very stubborn. He doesn't feel like he's worth doing anything. He doesn't want to go out and do anything, and he does the same thing every single day. But when the friendship blooms between Ben and Trevor, something just beautiful happens. The chemistry that Paul Rudd and Craig Roberts have in this film is just amazing. I love this film. I thought it was hilarious. It was incredibly touching as well. It reminds me of films such as The Fault in Our Stars and Miss You Already, which are kind of a little bit cheesy romance and the whole, you know, disabled romance story thing, but this friendship between Ben and Trevor is just really, really touching to watch, and some of the character kind of dynamics and things like that. I think it's a really touching film. I think it's done in an incredibly hilarious way, but instead of this film being a romance, it's kind of a comedy friendship film, and I think the actors just nail it, and I love the writing and some of the comedy. I just really thought this was an uplifting and heartwarming / heartbreaking and comforting film to watch. My next recommendation is Mistress America, directed by Noah Baumbach in 2015. It's also written by him and Greta Gerwig, and I love, love, love Greta Gerwig. So Mistress America follows the character of Tracy, played by Lola Kirk, who's kind of a lonely college student living in New York. She doesn't really have any friends, but she has a talent of writing, and she kind of has a bonding moment when she decides to hang out with her future sister-in-law, Brooke, played by Greta Gerwig. And to me, Mistress America was very quirky, very funny, very clever, and very truthful. And you can look at this film in two different ways. The first way is that it portrays females as being incredibly stereotypical, but the other way you can look at it is that they portray females as being complex and clever and funny and having this great female friendship. And I looked at it the second way, and I found this film incredibly, incredibly clever and thought-provoking. I really related to Tracy's character in the beginning of the film. She was a very lonely college student. She didn't know her way in life, and I liked seeing the relationship develop between her and Brooke. And some of the dialogue in this film is very, very truthful. What I found with Brooke's character is she was very, very self-centered. She was, I think, the early 30s, and she was like all about her boyfriend and all of her hopes and dreams, and she was very self-centered, always changing the subject back to herself, and I found so much truth in that dialogue. I would definitely say I prefer the first half of this film to the second half, but overall I really, really enjoyed Mistress America. I thought it was a very great kind of character study for these two female characters. My third recommendation would be Insidious, which tons of you guys had told me to watch because you know I'm not the biggest fan of horror, but you thought I would enjoy this one. And I did enjoy Insidious. The film is directed by James Wan, and although I think that James Wan is a little bit stronger in the Conjuring films, I think Insidious is incredibly well done. It follows this family who have just moved from one house to the next house because they think that their old house was haunted, but it just turns out that their oldest son is haunted. And it kind of follows the by numbers horror film where things start to go wrong, but it is incredibly well built up and intense to watch. Because of the modern-ish setting of Insidious, I didn't find it quite as scary as I do the Conjuring films or anything set in the past. However, I think the ending of Insidious is so well done, probably one of the best horror endings I've seen. And my final and fourth recommendation is Boogie Nights, which is our Cinebrew pick of the month along with Almost Famous. This is the first time I was watching it, obviously. Boogie Nights follows this character called Dirk Diggle, who kind of goes into the underworld of pornography in Los Angeles in the 70s. It's directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, and he does it flawlessly with this camera work that keeps going on and on and on, and you're thrown into this kind of dysfunctional family of Boogie Nights, and I think it's really, really well written. It's 2.5 hours in length, and I just think it's perfectly timed out, getting to know each and every one of these characters. The third act of this film is really perfectly done, really intense, and it's just so interesting, and I think the acting, especially by Mark Wahlberg, is really fantastic in this film. So there you have it, guys. That was day 21 to day 40. I hope I can continue doing the 100-day film challenge and not get too stressed out trying to watch new films. But if you have seen any of the films I've watched, let me know down below in the comments what you think about them. And if you like this video, of course, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I'll be doing lots more TV related and movie related reviews for you guys very, very soon. My social media links, as always, are down below in the description. Come follow me. Thank you guys so much for watching. That is all I have for you today. Bye!